Hello again, YouTube. It's me, Maester Mike. You know, blah 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 blah. I'm here for my next Star Wars review. So, I want to make a little thing. If my video sorry if my video seemed a little rushed towards the end of that. I was running out of memory space for my phone, so I just had to rush to an end. There's a few things that I forgot to talk about with The Force Awakens. Some things that I'm just going to go over them right now. So, some things that... The thing about The Force Awakens was I felt like the whole thing was just pandering to me, and I really didn't like that. And there are certain plot threads that I thought... There are certain plot threads that just don't really make sense. Like, at first it seemed like the plot is about finding the map to Luke Skywalker and seeing where he is and trying to find him. But then there's this plot about the Starkiller base just literally comes in out of nowhere, like 40 minutes, or like an hour into the movie. This giant planet-sized Death Star just comes in out of nowhere and really doesn't have much to do with anything. It's just there for nostalgia's sake. And then there was also one thing I forgot to mention was the treatment of Han Solo. While I'm not specifically with that they killed him off. Now I know that Harrison Ford has wanted to be out of Star Wars for years, and this is probably for that they killed him off just for that, but when I saw that, first off, it was incredibly predictable that it was going to happen, because the way they set it up with him and Kylo Ren on this bridge above a giant pit to this abyss down into the Starkiller base, you knew that he was going to die. And I'm not one who usually picks up on a lot of predictable elements, but that scene in particular was very obvious where it was going to go, and I was very skeptical about how they were going to handle that. Well, what that meant for Star Wars moving on, because they just kill off one of the most beloved characters, not only in Star Wars, but in film history, Han Solo. They kill him off. But, so yeah, the film was very pandering to me, and I did not like that. But, hey, I try to be optimistic about some things, mostly in terms of entertainment. I'm not optimistic about other things, but hey, it was only the first movie of this new trilogy, so maybe some people had a point to it. I don't like people saying that they had to be that they had to pander to nostalgia to set up this new trilogy, but hey, maybe they were setting up for something great. As long as they got through that, then they could start doing something great with this trilogy. Oh boy. So, I just watched The Last Jedi. That's where I'm going with this. I just watched The Last Jedi finished it about an hour ago, and I've got some things to say. Now, preface, I want to say this right here. I don't dislike this movie as much as many other people do, but wow. Never in my life had I thought that there would be a Star Wars movie that was more hated than either The Phantom Menace or The Attack of the Clones. But here we are, 2 years after the release of Force Awakens. The Last Jedi came out to positive critical score and very negative fan score. Man, to say that this film divided people would be an understatement. So, what is this movie about? Let's go on to that. So, The Last Jedi takes place right after the events of The Force Awakens, and I mean literally right after. Right as that movie ends, this film begins. And there are a lot of problems that I have with this, but... Well, anyway, after the Starkiller base has been destroyed, the First Order has come after the Resistance themselves, and now they're wiping out their fleet as the Resistance is starting to flee. They're about to flee to another place so that they can contact any support that they have in the outer rim of the galaxy. And as they're flying out through space, the First Order is constantly chasing them, and they have to find a way to stop them from getting into their ship, or from destroying their ship. Meanwhile, Rey has found Luke Skywalker, and she's going to train him, but Luke Skywalker is not as we remember him. Not by a long shot. Oh no, he's not the same he's not the same young Jedi full of hope who dreams of setting things right in the universe. Oh no, he's a lot more negative, not a lot more depressed and miserable, and he has plans of getting rid of the Jedi. And oh boy, this movie has problems in terms of plot and its structure and how it handles itself. Wow, a lot of people were optimistic for this movie. I've seen a lot of people talk about this movie, specifically people on the YouTube channel Geeks and Gamers, that they were looking forward to this movie? Me personally, I was not. I was kind of turned off just by the trailers. Because, as I said for Force Awakens, I was not fond of them pandering to nostalgia, and I thought they were going to move past that with this new movie. But with the first trailer, what did we get? We saw stuff like Rey, this new Jedi, going to this secluded planet to train with an old Jedi Master, just like Luke did with Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. We saw a planet of white, what looks like snow, but it's actually salt, but on this planet where we've got giant AT-AT Imperial walkers who's trying to take out this one rebellion stronghold, just like in The Empire Strikes Back. It's going to have a darker tone, according to certain articles describing this movie before it came out, just like The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, this movie is, yeah, I was turned off by that. It's just going to pander to nostalgia yet again, and people were going to shill for it yet again, and yeah, I was turned off by this. Also, there's something else that's kind of funny. Oh yeah, but first, not only was the nostalgia very obvious, but also with the fact that Luke was claiming that the Jedi must end. Just, yeah, I kind of knew that this film going into it was going to be they're going to try to make some stupid reason, some stupid postmodern reason why the Jedi were actually bad people and why why would they kill the Jedi? The Jedi make Star Wars. The Jedi are one of the coolest concepts in film history, and they're just going to destroy it by one of them. The hero from the original trilogy is going to let it die. So yeah, I was turned off just by the first trailers, and I didn't actually see this movie in theaters until like about a week after it. Because I was hearing a lot of negative backlash towards this, and I did not, having dealt with the prequels all my life and how people hated those, I just did not want to have to deal with that again. So I waited about a week until it sort of died down a bit, but yeah, I was not looking forward to this movie, both in terms of the trailer, and also there's this other show. Anyone ever heard of Netflix's Troll Hunters? That is my favorite show of all time, and it is a shame that thing is not more respected, but funny thing is, that show's second season came out the exact same day as Star Wars The Last Jedi did in theaters back in December 2017. I was more excited for this brand new series that had only been out for just under a year than I was for Star Wars. I think that should say something about how Disney's been handling this new series. At the bottom line, go watch Troll Hunters on Netflix. You'll love it. You'll probably like it more than Star Wars. I hope. I would love to talk about that more than this, but yeah. When I saw this movie, I thought that people were being a little bit too harsh, but then again, I saw there's things about this movie that just were off. Very strange. And when I really thought about it, hearing a lot of people's arguments, I really realized, yeah, The Last Jedi sucks. It really sucks. Wow. So, you know what? I'm going to do something right here. I have my computer right up screen right here, and as you can see right here, there's my that's my TV, that's my computer, and I just got Netflix on, and I'm just going to go through the scenes bit by bit and explain just how many wrong things there are with this movie. First off, one thing I didn't mention about my last video, I am really not fond of Disney buying this, because the fact that Disney has this, we no longer get to hear the 20th Century Fox theme at the beginning of these Star Wars movies, and that felt like such a big part of Star Wars. Like that big triumphant fanfare, you go into this quiet bit saying a long time ago, the opening prologue, and then I just don't like it that we don't get to hear the 20th Century Fox theme anymore, because that felt like such a big part of Star Wars' identity. But Disney owns Fox now, so maybe they won't put it back. And also, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the opening fanfare, just like with the last movie, the music in this film is so forgettable. It's fine, but it's so forgettable. And also the opening fanfare with the opening crawl, it feels like something's off about it. But yeah, there are problems literally right as this movie starts out. So it says, I'm just looking up the movie right here. It says, "The First Order reigns." Like, really? So this movie's expecting me to believe that, like, it takes place right after The Force Awakens ends. and they had just suffered a crushing defeat. You're telling me that they were able to bounce back from that in just, like, one day? All of that victory that was made at the end of that movie, completely pointless. It doesn't matter now. The First Order is out to get them. And so, let's see. So, yeah, that ending is kind of made superfluous. Also, why is it just this small band of fighters trying to destroy the First Order? The Republic should still be there. Like, sure, they destroyed a few planets, but the Republic should be much bigger than just the 5 planets that were destroyed in the first movie. Are you telling me that they did such a bad job of resetting the Republic that those were the only planets that the Republic was on? Wow, you are really pushing my suspension of disbelief, Rian Johnson and Disney. I have some things to say about him later, don't you worry. So yeah, just reading. I don't have any sound on because I don't want Disney to try to attack this video, because I know they will try if they hear this music. So yeah, it starts out with the First Order coming to attack the planet that the Resistance was hiding on in the first one, or The Force Awakens, not really the first one, just the first one of the Disney films. And Poe Dameron, the daring pilot from the last movie, yeah, this movie pretty much starts out on the wrong foot, because one thing I said in my video on A New Hope was that the Empire was very dignified. They had dignity and such class, but here with General Hux, he's being easily it starts out with General Hux being easily tricked by Poe he's pulling a prank on him, and he's easily falling for it, which that should be a very clear sign that he's trying to trap him. And he also makes a yo mama joke at him. That's a great way of starting out this movie. This movie has a really bad sense of humor. So he falls for an obvious trap. And then, yeah, going through the scenes right now, and so Poe makes this whole flight with these bombers to destroy this giant dreadnought ship, a very powerful ship in the First Order's fleet. And the bombers are probably the stupidest design of Star Wars vehicles I've ever seen. They are slow, they are huge targets. Like, a kamikaze TIE fighter takes out 3 in just a kamikaze shot. Like, how bad are these ships? And then there's this one character in the last remaining bomber, who they set up for this great big sacrifice. And yeah, I guess it is to an extent emotional, but this character that they show, who's the only one who's able to blow up, send the bombs out, which somehow fall from the ship despite falling into space where there's no gravity. So physics, what is that? Science. There's this character apparently named Paige Tico who makes this big sacrifice as her ship blows up. And it's supposed to be this big, sad, meaningful moment. Who is she? She's literally introduced for just this one scene, and she's dead. Who is this character? That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we feel anything for her? And then later on we see Hux being completely emasculated again when this comical projection of Supreme Leader Snoke's head comes into the ship. He just throws him down with the Force and just drags him around on the floor like a rag doll. Which, first off, Snoke should have more dignity than this. The Emperor Palpatine he talked to Vader in certain secret rooms, and now he's just talking out to everyone else. Like, the mystery in the air, the mystery that he has, he's just gone. It's just not there. Then all of a sudden, after that, Finn, after his fight with Kylo Ren in the last movie, wakes up. He's perfectly fine, despite his back getting sliced open by Kylo Ren's lightsaber. And then there's a scene where he's just wandering throughout the ship in some healing devices and completely naked, and sort of he's wearing underwear, but no one stopped him. Like, what's up with that scene? So that's kind of a wonky start. And then after that, we cut to the scene that ended on The Force Awakens, where Rey hands Luke Skywalker his lightsaber. Hold on a sec. I think I want to... Sorry, I'm just going to plug my phone in. I don't want to accidentally run out of battery because I've got a lot of stuff to say, just in case. So yeah, then comes the infamous moment where better hold on to the phone, where Rey hands Luke Skywalker his lightsaber. So what does Luke Skywalker do after being reunited with his lightsaber after so many decades away from it? Does he say, where does Rey find it? Who is she? Nah, this is his lightsaber. And just walks off. So, yeah, Luke's dead. They just killed off Luke's credibility in just one scene. That scene doesn't make any sense. The biggest problem with this movie, I will say right now, they completely butcher Luke Skywalker's character. Just like they did with Han, but this is even worse because Luke was the character. I know that some people aren't the biggest fans. Luke isn't always the most popular character, but he was the hero that we all looked up to. He was the one that had the hope. He was the hope of the rebellion, and now he's just this grumpy, curmudgeon person that wants nothing to do with anything. He abandons all his friends and loved ones, and that's a complete far cry from what the extended universe had for him, where he was a hero, where he actually does restore the Jedi Alliance. That's another thing. Not only is the rebellion gone, the Jedi Order has been completely killed off. So yeah, all of our heroes that we looked up to in the original trilogy are complete failures. Yeah, the scene doesn't even make any sense. Like, this is the first time he even meets Rey, and he just tosses the lightsaber to the side without asking any questions of who she is, where she came from, and where she found the lightsaber. Who does that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And throughout the next couple of minutes, she's following Luke Skywalker across the planet that he's hidden himself on. And there's just some of the dumbest scenes I've seen in my life. There's that scene where he's milking that alien thing. And we see this really up-close shot of him milking the creature, and we see an up-close shot of the breasts of it, the nipples. And he's just drinking the green milk and it's filling down his beard. When I saw that was disgusting. Like, was that supposed to be funny? That was not funny in any stretch of the imagination. I don't know what sense of humor Rian Johnson has, but certainly not a good one. Hold on a second. I don't want this. Sorry, you're probably going to have to put up with my bad cinematography right here. And then there's also a scene where Luke goes spearfishing, where he's standing on this very narrow ledge on a cliff and has like this mile-long fishing spear, and there's got to be easier ways to spear a fish. Like, I know he cut himself off from the Force, but why would you do that? It could be so beneficial. But of course, if he had the Force, he'd still hear things that, like Han Solo dying. That's another thing. They show him they don't give him any reaction to his best friend dying. Why not? That is a huge missed opportunity. I don't think they even have any of that in the deleted scenes, do they? All right, next we have Kylo Ren, who's being chastised by Supreme Leader Snoke. I feel like he should be more respectful to his pupil, despite the fact that he lost to Rey in the last movie, which he really shouldn't have. Like all of a sudden now he has a problem with him trying to be like Darth Vader. But yeah, then it shows him destroying his helmet in a fit of rage. There should be so much better ways of showing him having a fit of rage. With Darth Vader, whenever he choked out someone, he'd just stand from a distance. He'll just hold out his hand, and they'll just be choking. It's very simple and subtle and kind of scary when he does it. But here, when Kylo Ren does it, he just throws people all over the room, and he's smashing his helmet against the elevator wall. When I feel like he should just crush it in his hand, like he's holding his hand, just force crushing it. I think that would make for a more interesting scene. So yeah, this movie doesn't start off with a good start. Some awkward humor later, and oh yeah, then we cut back to the Resistance where Leia is talking down to Poe, and she demotes him for his risky maneuver, which saved the rest of the Resistance from dying. Sure, it may have been really ballsy of him to do, but he saved them. But she's focusing on the few dead people that that sacrificed their lives for this cause, for keeping them alive. She's being very disrespectful to those people who died. I know I'm probably taking this a lot more seriously than I probably should for all those Disney shills out there, but like, you should be grateful that he saved you. I mean, he destroyed sorry, I don't know why I said that, the Starkiller base just like 2 days ago, and you're talking down to him like that? And here I am getting angry because, wow, this movie is so fucking stupid. Wow. And then only a second later, she just... When Poe is going out, she gives him the permission, as if that conversation never really happened. And even though he made this lightspeed jump away from the First Order, apparently the First Order has lightspeed tracking, which apparently is a thing now. Like, it's a thing now, like, no one back in the original or the prequel trilogy, or hell, no one had thought of that before. This movie raises so many questions for older movies that never existed. Not even the prequels were that problematic. If they have lightspeed tracking, then why didn't the Empire have it? They could have found the rebellion in this second. But anyway, they have another battle in space, and Kylo Ren shoots the room of the ship where his mother, Princess Leia, is, and then she gets sucked out into space, and then we get like the second most scene in this movie, where Leia is floating in complete zero gravity, where she should die. Like, I'm pretty sure you die in seconds when you're in space. And then she holds out her hand, and then she force pulls herself back to the ship in one of the most comical, idiotic things imaginable. That also confused me, because on one hand, it's cool. Hey, look, Leia's using the Force, even though, for some reason, even though she should be able to know how to use the Force in some capacity. Again, the extended universe, or is it expanded universe? Whatever. You know this. She does learn how to become a Jedi, but in this, nope, she's not a Jedi. She doesn't learn. She doesn't care. Doesn't matter. There's gotta be better ways of doing that. Like, I remember in the Force Awakens, like, or articles for that, they said that Leia did not train to be a Jedi, so where did this come from? Not only is it one of the dumbest looking things, it just makes no sense plot-wise. Oh boy. Oh yeah, and as how it should have ended noted, I don't know if the door to the room closed, but she basically opened the door when Poe and Finn came to save her into complete deep space, and that should have sucked them all out into the void of nothingness, but nope, they're all fine. Oh man, I'm so sorry for my camera right now. I just trying to charge my phone, and this video is going to go on for a long time, trust me. Oh yeah, and there are other things about this. Porgs. That was another thing that turned me off. The Porgs look like an obvious attempt for Disney to make merchandise on this film. I was not fond of the Porgs when they first came out. They look dumb and very Disney-esque and not really Star Wars-esque. There is one scene that I do kind of like, though. I do like it when Luke goes into the Millennium Falcon and he meets R2-D2 for the first time in years, and R2 convinces him to help Rey with an old hologram of Princess Leia, from back in A New Hope. I thought that was a cute touch, but that's just my personal opinion. I think it's cute. Other things. Yeah, also, what's up with the dice? I think there's this little trinket in the background of the Millennium Falcon. There's these little golden dice hanging on a chain from the ceiling, and apparently they're a thing now. No one ever noticed that before, and now they're a thing. I think that was just to set up Solo and to justify that thing's existence. Yeah, there are a lot of problems, and I'm only 40 minutes, and I'm only at the, 35-minute mark. Oh yeah, and another thing, they killed, when Leia was blasted into space, apparently Admiral Akbar was in there too, and he just dies off screen. So, one of the biggest fan favorite characters, gone. It doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. Just died. He's dead. You don't kill off fan favorite characters like that. He should have been in this movie more. I would have loved to see him take over command. Like, Akbar was only just in a few moments for both the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. I would have loved to see him be a major character in this, but nope. Instead, Princess Leia gives the control over to this new character, played by Laura Dern, called Vice Admiral Holdo, who, her design is so dumb. She's wearing a ball gown when everyone else is wearing uniforms, and her hair is pink for no reason. I never said this when I was doing my review for the Phantom Menace, and that the designs for all of Queen Amidala, all of her outfits are really silly and stupid looking. But I will say this right here. Queen Amidala's outfits are way better to look at than the pink hair that Laura Dern has in this movie. Like, why does she have pink hair? Everyone else has every human has normal colored hair, and she just has pink hair. Her hairstyle is also normal, but why is it pink? I don't get that. And yeah, Admiral Holdo is one of the most disliked characters. Oh boy, I'm looking at this one shot where Poe is talking. There's obvious. There's obvious feminist agenda in this movie. There's this one shot where he's talking to Holdo, and there's 4 other women. Like, look, we've got strong women. Oh gosh, Disney, why are you doing this? This is not what you are. You're not supposed to be this political. Yeah, when Poe tries to get confirmation that they have a plan to escape the First Order, she just talks down to him like he's a child, like he doesn't belong there. He's just I don't remember her exact words, but he's a troublemaker. He's just irresponsible, and while he could be, but she talks down to him in such a childish way. You know what I just realized when watching this movie? Her character reminds me of Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And that's not a good thing. When your new character is reminding us of one of the most disliked, or the most hated character in Harry Potter history, you're doing something wrong, Disney. Yeah, Holdo does not make a good first impression. And then one scene later, Poe, trying to get to Rey because he knows that she'll be in trouble, we meet another new character named Rose Tico, who... she's kind of all over the place in this movie. She doesn't really do much, neither does Finn. He doesn't really grow. No one really grows in this movie, it feels like. Also, yeah, Rose is all over the place. First she's crying over her dead sister from the beginning of the movie, and then all of a sudden she's all happy and smiley when she gets to meet Finn, who I doubt his story would have spread that fast within just a few days. Again, this only takes place a few days after the first movie, and that just makes a whole slew of problems. But she tries to stop him from deserting, so the resistance isn't really very good. Like, remember in the Empire Strikes Back when Han wanted to desert? There was the rebellion when Jabba the Hutt's bounty hunters were coming after him. Do you remember how they treated him? Did they try to force him to stay? Leia tried to, but that was just because she was a friend of his, and she didn't want to see him go. But the general of the rebellion, he lets him go. He lets him go and wishes him well. Here, apparently, they have to have some mechanic just stop deserters from going out. So this is more like a government. This is a mandatory government-run rebellion that you must take part in, or else you might as well be part of the First Order. So that's stupid. And now let's scroll ahead. Then Rose, Finn, and Poe come up with this new plan to try to deactivate the ships, and we get one of the most unnecessary plot points in the Star Wars movie, where they go to this planet with a casino called Canto Bight. I feel like this really should have been just cut out, because nothing really is achieved on that planet, but I'll get more into that. So, also another thing, this movie was this was the last full film that Carrie Fisher took part in before her untimely death, and I'm not going to blame Disney too much on some things, like no one could have predicted Carrie Fisher dying, but they could have treated her so much better in this movie. She's out of it she's in a coma for like half the movie. That's a good way of sending her off. So, Rose, Finn, and BB-8 go to the planet of Canto Bight, and now we're going on. We get scenes of Rey learning how to be a Jedi from Luke. We get some new Force ability where Kylo Ren and Rey are able to talk with each other and communicate with each other. They can see each other from across space, and they're able to even physically feel the areas they were in. Like in a later scene, Kylo feels the rain. Yeah, that's something that could happen. And yeah, I know the Force does it, but you can't just introduce brand new things without... You can't just introduce new Force abilities without properly explaining things. Like, there's a lore that's been set in stone for over 40 years now. You can't just make up your own stuff as you go on. Imagine if Hollywood tried to do that with The Lord of the Rings. They would not get far. On one hand, I kind of want to like some of the scenes of Luke training Rey, but this whole thing just goes to show that's undermining everything that the Jedi is and are. Like they say that they were a flawed people. They're like, of course they had problems. They didn't notice that Palpatine rose through the ranks and took over the Republic to turn it into the Empire, but he's just like throwing them all under the bus for no reason. After all the things that he went through in the Return of the Jedi, he's just throwing them away. Just stupid. Really, really stupid, in my opinion. And there's something really interesting that Rey has. She wants to know who she is in this universe, and she's feeling a great pull to the dark side. We'll get to that when we get to that, but let's see. So yeah, this whole Canto Bight scene is really stupid. Not only do Rey and Finn and Rose park on a beach illegally, which that's a good lesson to the kids watching this. Also, I don't like the scene because all these alien creatures, who are these? These don't feel like creatures that belong in the Star Wars universe. There's this leprechaun-like thing that puts coins in BB-8, but all these aliens look out of place. None of this looks like Star Wars. There's no recognizable aliens. And sure, I know that Star Wars is a big universe, but there has to be some familiar aliens. There's not even a single Twi'lek in here. Or not even a Duros or a Rodian or anything. None of them. They just don't exist in these movies, apparently. And of course, this whole scene where Rose is looking out over the racetracks and she's complaining about how these rich people make money off of selling weapons to the First Order. Obvious political messages about income inequality or like capitalism. Yeah, Hollywood, do you really think that we should listen to you for moral advice? Come on. You can't be that stupid. Nope, I forgot. You are. You're Hollywood. You're run by a bunch of idiots who think we've voted some sort of fascist into the White House.